Hello. Welcome to English Mindshift. This is not a loud video. This is not motivation. This is a quiet space to understand the mind and learn English. Today we talk about confidence, and we talk about social fear, not the fear you see on the surface, but the quiet fear that lives inside the body. The fear of speaking. The fear of being seen, the fear of saying the wrong word, in English or in life. Many people think confidence means being strong, being fast, being fearless. But real confidence is something else. Real confidence is calm. It is slow. It does not fight fear. It understands fear. If you feel your heart beat faster around people, if your voice becomes smaller in groups, if your mind goes blank when it is your turn to speak, there is nothing wrong with you. Your mind is not broken. Your fear is not a mistake. It is a message. In this video, we will listen to that message. We will use simple English. We will repeat important ideas. We will pause, so your mind can breathe. You do not need to change yourself today. Just observe. Let us begin. Pillar 1. The fear of being seen. Many people believe they are afraid of speaking, but in reality, most people are not afraid of words. What they fear is being seen. Being seen means attention, and attention feels like exposure. For the human nervous system, exposure can feel like danger, even when nothing bad is actually happening. Think about a simple moment. You are sitting quietly, and no one is looking at you. Your body feels normal. Then someone suddenly says your name. In that instant, your shoulders tighten, your breathing becomes shallow, and your heart starts to beat faster. Nothing has changed in the room, but everything has changed inside your body. This reaction is not imagination or weakness. It is biology. The human body has an old safety system called the fight, flight, or freeze response. Fight means to attack. Flight means to escape. Freeze means to stop. In social situations, the body often chooses freeze. Freezing keeps the body still, quiet, and less visible. Long ago, this response helped humans survive dangerous situations. If a predator noticed you, moving or making noise could mean death. Staying still increased the chance of survival. Even though modern life is very different, the body still carries this ancient learning. A classroom, a meeting, or a group conversation is not dangerous, but the nervous system reacts as if it is. The body responds before the mind has time to think. This is why confidence can feel impossible in social situations. Confidence is not only a mental skill, it is also a physical state. When the body freezes, many people judge themselves. They think something is wrong with them. But freezing is not a mistake. It is a protective response that happens automatically. The body is trying to keep you safe, even if its information is outdated. Understanding this changes everything. Confidence does not begin by forcing yourself to speak. It begins by noticing what is happening inside you without judgment. When you feel frozen, pause and observe the sensation. Feel your breath. Notice the tension. Silently remind yourself that your body is protecting you. This awareness creates space, and space creates calm. Over time, calm allows choice. Real confidence grows slowly. It starts with permission. Permission to pause, permission to feel, and permission to be seen without rushing. Pillar 2. The illusion of judgment. One of the strongest roots of social fear is the fear of judgment. Many people feel that when they speak, others are watching closely, listening carefully, and waiting to find mistakes. This feeling can be heavy. It can make the mind go blank and the body feel tense. But this fear is often based on an illusion, not on reality. The human mind has a habit called spotlight thinking. This means we feel as if a spotlight is always on us, showing every word, every movement, and every small mistake. When you speak, it feels like everyone is focused only on you. But in most situations, this is not true. The spotlight exists mainly inside your own mind. Think about the last time someone else made a small mistake while speaking. Maybe they used the wrong word. Maybe they paused or looked nervous. How long did you think about it? Most likely only for a few seconds. Then your attention returned to yourself. This is how the human mind works. People are busy with their own thoughts, their own fears, and their own inner world. Judgment feels powerful because the brain wants certainty. It wants to know, am I safe? When the answer is unclear, the brain imagines the worst. It imagines rejection, embarrassment, or failure. But imagination is not evidence. The mind creates stories quickly, especially under stress. Another important point is this. Even when judgment exists, it is usually neutral, not cruel. Most people do not judge to harm. They judge to understand, compare, or relate. And often, they forget quickly. The fear of judgment stays longer in the person who is afraid than in the people who are watching. Confidence grows when you see this clearly. Not everyone is evaluating you. Not everyone is waiting for you to fail. Most people are simply trying to feel comfortable themselves. When you understand this, the pressure becomes lighter. You stop carrying responsibility for everyone's thoughts. You do not need to control how others see you. That is not possible. What you can do is stay present with your own experience. Speak slowly. Breathe naturally. Allow imperfection. The illusion of judgment loses power when you stop feeding it with constant attention. As you listen to this, take a quiet moment. Notice where your mind goes when you imagine speaking. Notice the fear, but also notice how quickly the mind creates stories. Awareness is not force. Awareness is clarity. And clarity is a gentle form of confidence. Pillar 3. Confidence without force. Many people try to build confidence by pushing themselves. They tell themselves to speak louder, act faster, or be more outgoing. Sometimes this works for a short moment, but inside, the tension stays. The body may move forward, but the mind feels tired. This is because forced confidence does not come from safety. It comes from pressure. Real confidence feels different. It is not loud. It is not sharp. It does not rush. Real confidence feels like enough space inside the body to breathe while being seen. It feels like standing where you are, without needing to prove anything. When confidence is forced, the body stays alert. The shoulders remain tight. The breath stays high in the chest. Even after speaking, the mind keeps replaying the moment. But when confidence grows naturally, the body softens. There is less effort. Words come more slowly. but more honestly. This kind of confidence begins when you stop fighting fear. Fear does not disappear because you argue with it. It changes when you allow it to be present without turning away. When fear is allowed, it no longer needs to shout. It becomes quieter on its own. There is a small shift that matters here. Instead of asking, "How do I sound?" you begin to ask, "Am I connected to myself right now?" This changes the direction of attention. The mind moves inward, not outward, and when you are connected to yourself, you feel less pulled by the reactions of others. Confidence without force also means accepting pauses. Silence is not failure. A pause is simply a moment where the mind and body are catching up with each other. When you stop trying to fill every space, your presence becomes calmer. People feel that calm, even if they do not understand why. Over time, this way of being creates trust inside you. You learn that you can stay present even when attention is on you. You learn that fear can rise and fall without controlling your actions. Confidence then becomes a quiet agreement with yourself. I can be here as I am. This confidence does not need performance. It does not need approval. It grows slowly, through repeated moments of staying instead of escaping. And one day, you notice something simple. Being seen no longer feels like a threat. It feels like part of being alive. Pillar 4. Speaking as you are. For many people, social fear becomes stronger when language is involved. Speaking in another language can feel like standing without protection. The words do not come easily. The accent feels exposed. Small mistakes feel bigger than they are. In these moments, confidence is not only about people. It is also about identity. When you speak English, you may feel that you are not fully yourself. Your thoughts feel deeper than your words. Your personality feels smaller. This gap can create shame, even when no one else is judging you. Inside, there is a sense of being unfinished, or not ready yet. But language is not a test of worth. It is a bridge, and bridges are built slowly. Every language learner lives between two versions of themselves. One is the fluent thinker inside. The other is the speaker who is still learning. Social fear grows when you compare these two and expect them to match. But they do not need to. They are allowed to be different. Speaking as you are means allowing your English to be simple. It means letting your sentences be imperfect. When you stop trying to sound advanced, something interesting happens. Your voice becomes more natural. Your rhythm becomes calmer. People begin to listen to meaning, not form. Mistakes are often feared because they feel like exposure. But most mistakes pass quickly. They do not stay in the room as long as they stay in your mind. When you accept this, your attention returns to connection instead of control. There is also something honest in speaking with limits. You choose words carefully. You pause more. You listen more. These qualities create presence. They create sincerity. Many fluent speakers never learn this. Confidence in language does not come from sounding perfect. It comes from trusting that you are allowed to speak while learning. You do not need permission to use your voice. The learning happens through use, not before it. As you sit with this idea, notice how your body feels. Notice whether it softens when you imagine speaking without performance. This softness is important. It is the place where confidence and language meet. Speaking as you are is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a more honest one. Pillar 5. Rewriting the inner voice. Social fear is not only something you feel in the body, it is also something you hear in the mind. There is often a quiet voice inside that speaks before you do. It comments, it warns, it predicts outcomes that have not happened yet. This voice usually sounds protective. It says things like, "Be careful," or "Maybe stay quiet," or "This is not the right moment." It does not sound cruel at first. It sounds reasonable. But over time, it becomes the strongest influence on your behavior. The inner voice learns by repetition. If you have felt embarrassed in the past, the voice remembers. If you have been misunderstood, it stores that memory. The mind uses the past to imagine the future, even when the situation is different. What matters here is not stopping the voice. Trying to silence it often makes it louder. What changes it is the way you listen to it. When the voice speaks, notice the tone. Is it urgent? Is it heavy? Is it absolute? Many inner voices speak in extremes. They say always or never. They speak as if one moment defines everything. This tone creates pressure, not clarity. Rewriting the inner voice does not mean replacing it with positive words. Forced positivity feels false, and the mind resists it. Instead, the shift is toward neutrality. A calmer voice, a voice that leaves space. For example, instead of "I will mess this up," the voice becomes, "This might feel uncomfortable." Instead of "Everyone will notice," it becomes, "Some people may notice, and that is okay." These sentences do not fight reality. They soften it. Over time, the inner voice begins to change its role. It stops being a guard that blocks movement and becomes a companion that walks with you. Fear may still be present, but it no longer controls every decision. Pay attention to how your body responds when the inner voice softens. Often, the breath deepens. The jaw releases. The moment feels more open. This connection between words and sensation is important. It shows that confidence grows from inside, not from performance. Rewriting the inner voice is a slow process. It happens in ordinary moments, one sentence at a time. And slowly, the mind learns that speaking does not always lead to danger. Pillar 6. Staying with discomfort. One of the quiet habits behind social fear is the need to escape discomfort as quickly as possible. When tension appears in the body, the mind looks for an exit. It may rush words, avoid eye contact, or decide not to speak at all. Relief comes quickly, but confidence does not grow there. Discomfort itself is not the problem. The problem is how quickly we turn away from it. The body feels something unfamiliar, and the mind labels it as danger. But many uncomfortable sensations are simply signs of activation, energy moving, attention sharpening. These sensations feel intense, but they are not harmful. When you stay with discomfort, something subtle happens. The sensation rises, stays for a moment, and then begins to change. This is difficult to notice if you leave too early. Confidence grows in these small moments of staying, not forcing, not fixing, just remaining present. Staying does not mean being passive. It means allowing the experience to unfold without adding extra fear to it. The body learns through experience, not explanation. Each time you stay, even briefly, the nervous system updates its understanding of safety. There is often a fear that if you stay with discomfort, it will grow stronger. But most sensations peak and then soften. The body knows how to regulate itself when it is not interrupted by panic or judgment. This practice changes your relationship with social moments. Instead of seeing them as tests to pass, you begin to experience them as movements to ride. You may still feel nervous, but you also feel grounded. The moment becomes tolerable, then familiar. Over time, this familiarity builds trust. You trust that you can feel uncomfortable and still remain present. You trust that discomfort does not control you. Confidence then appears quietly, as a natural result of staying instead of escaping. Pillar 7. The myth of the perfect moment. Many people wait for the right moment to speak. They wait until they feel confident, calm, and clear inside. They believe that one day the fear will disappear, and then speaking will feel natural. But this moment rarely arrives, because confidence is not something that comes before action. It forms while you are already inside the experience. The idea of a perfect moment creates delay. It tells the mind, not yet. It gives fear more time to grow. While waiting, the imagination becomes active. It starts creating images of mistakes, awkward silence, or negative reactions. The longer you wait, the heavier the moment feels. In reality, most moments are imperfect. The mind is busy. The body feels slightly tense. The words are not fully ready. This is normal. Waiting for everything to align means waiting forever. Confidence grows when you move with the moment as it is, not as you wish it to be. There is also a misunderstanding about readiness. Many people think readiness means certainty. But in social situations, certainty is rare. Conversations are unpredictable. Reactions are unknown. Speaking always includes a small risk. Accepting this risk, instead of trying to eliminate it, changes your relationship with fear. When you speak before you feel ready, something important happens. You learn that you can survive the uncertainty. The body experiences the full cycle: tension, expression, and release. This experience teaches safety more deeply than thinking ever could. The myth of the perfect moment is often connected to self-protection. The mind wants to avoid regret. It wants to avoid embarrassment. But avoiding all risk also avoids growth. Each time you wait, the mind strengthens the belief that silence is safer. Each time you speak, even imperfectly, the body learns that expression is possible. This does not mean pushing yourself aggressively. It means noticing when waiting is driven by fear rather than by care. Sometimes silence is wise. Sometimes it is avoidance. Learning the difference takes patience and honesty. Over time, you may notice something subtle. The moment you decide to speak, the fear does not disappear, but it becomes less central. Attention shifts from internal debate to external connection. Words may come slowly, but they come from a more grounded place. Confidence forms in these ordinary moments, not when everything feels perfect, but when you allow imperfection and move anyway. The perfect moment is not something you find. It is something you create by entering the moment that already exists. Pillar 8. Letting the body lead. Most people try to solve social fear with thinking. They analyze what to say, how to say it, and how they might be received. While thinking has its place, confidence does not begin there. Confidence begins in the body, long before words appear. When social fear is present, the body often knows it first. The chest tightens. The breath becomes shallow. The stomach feels heavy. These signals are not mistakes. They are information. But many people respond by ignoring the body or trying to control it. This creates distance instead of ease. Letting the body lead means listening to these signals without trying to change them immediately. It means noticing the breath and allowing it to deepen naturally. It means feeling your feet on the ground and the weight of your body in the chair. These small sensations bring attention out of the mind and into the present moment. The body moves more slowly than thought, but it is more honest. When you allow your body to settle first, your words follow with less effort. You may speak more slowly. You may pause more often. This is not a weakness. It is a sign that you are present. There is also a rhythm to confidence that comes from the body. When you speak in alignment with your breath, your voice sounds steadier. When your posture is relaxed, your message feels clearer. These changes are subtle, but people sense them. Many language learners worry about sounding natural, but natural speech does not come from perfect grammar. It comes from being connected to your physical experience while speaking. When the body is involved, the voice carries more authenticity, even with simple words. Letting the body lead also changes how you experience attention. Instead of feeling watched, you feel anchored. The body becomes a reference point you can return to at any time. This reduces the sense of exposure. Over time, this practice builds trust between the mind and the body. The mind learns that it does not need to control every moment. The body learns that it can handle being seen. Confidence then feels less like a performance and more like a state of alignment. As you listen, take a quiet moment. Notice your breath. Notice where your body makes contact with the space around you. This awareness is not separate from confidence. It is its foundation. Pillar 9. Allowing imperfection to be visible. A large part of social fear comes from the need to appear complete. Many people feel that they must sound clear, confident, and correct before they speak. Anything less feels risky. Imperfection feels like exposure. But this belief creates a constant tension between who you are in the moment and who you think you should be. Imperfection is not a flaw in communication. It is a natural part of it. Real conversations include pauses, corrections, and moments of uncertainty. When you try to remove these elements, speech becomes rigid. The body tightens, and the voice loses warmth. Allowing imperfection to be visible does not mean drawing attention to mistakes. It means not hiding them. It means continuing even when a sentence is not perfect, even when the word you want does not come immediately. This choice changes the emotional tone of speaking. Instead of fear, there is openness. Many people believe that others notice their imperfections more than they actually do. In reality, most listeners focus on meaning, not form. They sense intention before accuracy. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, You invite others to relax as well. The interaction becomes human instead of performative. There is also an inner shift that happens when imperfection is allowed. The pressure to monitor yourself decreases. You stop watching every word so closely. Attention moves outward, toward connection. This shift reduces self-consciousness naturally, without effort. For language learners, imperfection carries an extra layer of fear. Mistakes can feel like proof of inadequacy, but learning does not happen in silence. It happens in use. Each imperfect sentence is part of the process, not a failure of it. Allowing imperfection also builds resilience. When you speak and nothing terrible happens, the mind updates its expectations. The fear loses some of its authority. Over time, the range of what feels safe expands. This does not mean you stop improving. Growth continues, but it is no longer driven by shame. It is guided by curiosity. You notice what works, what feels natural, and what can be adjusted later. As you sit with this idea, notice how your body responds to the thought of being imperfect in front of others. If there is resistance, that is okay. Resistance often protects something sensitive. Stay with the sensation. Let it be there without pushing it away. Confidence grows when you realize that being seen as unfinished is not dangerous. It is honest. And honesty creates connection more reliably than perfection ever could. Pillar 10. Separating safety from approval. Many people unknowingly connect confidence with approval. When others smile, agree, or respond positively, the body relaxes. When approval is missing, tension appears. Over time, the mind learns to treat approval as a sign of safety. This is where social fear becomes deeply rooted. But approval and safety are not the same thing. Safety is about whether you are physically and emotionally okay in the moment. Approval is about how others feel or respond. The nervous system often mixes these two, especially if past experiences taught you that acceptance was conditional. Speaking then feels risky, because approval feels uncertain. When safety depends on approval, every interaction becomes a kind of evaluation. You watch faces. You listen for tone changes. You adjust yourself constantly. This creates exhaustion. Confidence cannot grow in this state because the body never fully relaxes. Separating safety from approval is a quiet but powerful shift. It begins with noticing that disagreement, silence, or neutral reactions do not harm you. They may feel uncomfortable, but discomfort is not danger. The body can feel unsettled and still be safe. This understanding develops through experience. Each time you speak, and nothing bad happens, even without approval, the nervous system learns. The fear response softens. The body stops preparing for threat where there is none. There is also freedom in this separation. When you no longer rely on approval to feel safe, you speak more honestly. You choose words that reflect your thoughts, not what you think others want to hear. This honesty feels grounding. It reduces inner conflict. Approval can still be pleasant. It can still matter. But it no longer controls your sense of stability. You stop chasing reactions and start noticing your own state instead. This shift reduces pressure without removing care. Language learners often feel this strongly. When feedback is unclear or reactions are subtle, the mind fills in the gaps with fear. But most reactions are neutral, not negative. Learning to tolerate neutrality is an important step toward confidence. As you reflect on this, notice where you feel approval in your body. Notice also where you feel safety. These sensations may be different. With time, you learn to anchor yourself in safety first. Approval becomes secondary. Confidence becomes quieter here. It is not built on praise or agreement. It is built on the understanding that you can remain steady, even when responses vary. This steadiness allows you to speak without constantly checking yourself. In this space, communication feels less like a test and more like an exchange. You offer your words, and whatever comes back does not define your worth or your safety. That realization changes how social moments are experienced. Pillar 11. Living without the constant watch. At some point, confidence stops being something you practice and becomes something you live. This happens when the feeling of being watched begins to fade. Not completely, but enough that it no longer shapes every movement and every word. The sense of being watched is often internal. It is the mind observing itself, checking for mistakes, measuring reactions, and predicting outcomes. This inner observer can feel helpful, but when it is always active, it creates distance from the moment. Life starts to feel like a performance instead of an experience. Living without the constant watch does not mean becoming careless. It means allowing your attention to rest outside your own head. When attention moves outward, toward the conversation, the environment, or the shared moment, self-consciousness loosens its grip. This shift usually happens gradually. You may notice small moments where you forget yourself for a few seconds. You are listening. You are responding naturally. Later, you realize that fear was not present during those moments. These experiences matter. They show the nervous system that another way of being is possible. As the inner watch quiets, the body responds. Movements feel simpler. The voice feels more like your own. There is less effort in choosing words. Speaking becomes part of the moment, not something separate from it. For language learners, this state feels especially freeing. The focus moves from correctness to connection. You begin to trust that meaning can pass through even when language is simple. This trust allows fluency to develop naturally, without pressure. Living this way does not remove all fear. Fear may still appear in new or important situations, but it no longer defines your identity. It becomes one experience among many, not the center of your social world. Confidence at this stage feels quiet and stable. It does not need attention. It does not announce itself. It shows up as presence, the ability to be where you are with others without constantly monitoring yourself. This is not a final destination. It is an ongoing state that grows with practice and patience. But once you taste it, you understand something deeply. You are not here to be watched. You are here to participate. Closing reflection. As we come to the end of this time together, there is nothing you need to remember perfectly. You do not need to hold on to every idea. Let the words settle in their own way. Let your body decide what stays. Confidence is not something you suddenly achieve. It is something that forms quietly, through understanding. When fear is seen clearly, it no longer feels like an enemy. It becomes a signal, something to listen to, not something to escape. If social situations still feel difficult, that is okay. Growth does not move in straight lines. Some days feel open. Other days feel closed. Both are part of the same process. What matters is that you are paying attention with less judgment than before. If you are learning English, remember that language is not only about correctness, it is about presence. Every time you listen, reflect, or speak, even silently, you are building something inside. Progress often happens beneath the surface. This space, English Mindshift, is not here to rush you. It is here to slow things down, to explore language and the mind together, without pressure. You are welcome to return whenever you need clarity, calm, or simply a quiet voice in a noisy world. You do not need to become someone else to be confident. You only need to become more familiar with yourself. That familiarity grows with patience, not force. As you leave this video, carry one simple thing with you: the understanding that fear can exist without controlling you. You can pause, you can breathe, you can speak when you are ready. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, and allow confidence to grow in its own time.